Yeah. Refresh my memory. What does the vertical line test help us decide? If something's a function. If a vertical line passes through only one time, not more than once, it is a function. Agreed? Okay. So the horizontal line test, because vertical is x equals, the horizontal line test is going to decide if the inverse is a function. So, if I write HLT, do you know what I mean? Okay. Here's what we're going to say. The inverse, so this is what the horizontal line test is. The inverse of a relation is a function. Inverse. If and only if, who remembers that from geometry? IFF, that's not a typo. IFF means if and only if, okay? If and only if each horizontal line touches the graph. Only once. So we're gonna put 4 pictures of relations up. Why am I using the word relation? So, sometimes we have some graphs of things that are useful graphs, but they're not functions, okay? And so all of these are going to be relations. We're going to first decide if the function or the relation is a function, then we're going to decide if it has an inverse that's a function. Okay, you ready? I'm going to use horizontal line test. Okay. Hey, this should look familiar. Ooh. Why should that look familiar? You were supposed to know that. What's the equation? You were supposed to know that. Y equals 1 over x. Okay, so my first question, is y equals 1 over x a function? Okay. Why? Because doesn't it pass the vertical line test? A vertical line would at most cross once through this. Okay. Now, let's go the other way. Does this pass a horizontal line test? Yes. So what that means is this actually has an inverse that's a function too. I don't know what it is, but I know it has one. It has an inverse. That's a function. Okay. Ooh, what's that guy? Kinda, sorta. Y equals sine of x. Okay. Is y equals sine of x a function? It is a function. Does y equal sine of x pass the horizontal line test? No, like if I had a horizontal line right there, do you see how it intersects the graph more than once? What that means is it doesn't have an inverse that's a function. Doesn't have an inverse that's a function. Did you guys study sine inverse last year? The sine inverse key on your calculator? The sine -1 key? Okay. Well, wait a second. How can we have a sine inverse key if you're telling me that it doesn't have a function? What we do is we take a snippet of the graph. I'm going to just cover this up. If I cover just took that little piece, you see that what's not covered now? Would that pass the horizontal line test? And so actually the sine inverse is a very, very little function. It's only that little piece because it's taking a part of the sine function. Yesterday I did the same thing. Do you remember what function I said not the whole thing had an inverse? Do you remember how square root of x was only on the one side? Because think about it, doesn't x squared, the parabola, doesn't that fail the horizontal line test? So it doesn't have an inverse that's a function for the whole domain, but if we restrict the domain, we can find one. Okay, last one. Maybe you remember this from last year too. I can't remember how many things, I talked to Mr. Staublin about this, about conic sections. Did you guys do conic sections last year? A little bit. This is an ellipse. Okay, is an ellipse a function? No. Okay, so this is not a function. Okay, is its inverse a function? No. This fails both the vertical and horizontal line test, right? Are you seeing that? Like if I drew a horizontal line, it would also touch more than one? Not a function, and then it doesn't have an inverse that's a function either. Okay. So we give a name to something that passes both the vertical and horizontal line test. And the name we give to that is one-to-one. Because we've already talked about how we have to assign one input to one output, but if we also always assign one output to one input, we call that one-to-one. And what that means is it would always pass the vertical and horizontal line test. So if you see that today, you might be asked in your homework, is this one-to-one? So if you see that vocab, one-to-one, all that means is it passes the vertical line test, and are you okay with me abbreviating that? You know what that means? Okay, and horizontal line test. And so what it means is it's a function and its entire inverse is a function too. For instance, I'm going to just do some basic functions. This is the cubing function, correct? Doesn't that pass both the horizontal and vertical line test? Okay, it's one-to-one. Can somebody give me another basic function that's one-to-one? You just took your test on it? Abby? She said y equals x. Yeah, that would pass both the vertical and horizontal line test. Cool. Just for the heck of it, give me one more that passes both the vertical and horizontal line test. Good. E to the x, you said. Yeah. Okay. So what that means is these functions, we could, on their entire domain, we can find inverses for. And I'll tell you what they are. We'll talk about how to find them in a second. The inverse of x cubed is the cubed root of x. Have you heard of that? Okay. The inverse of y equals x, actually, let's see, is y equals x. Weird. Here's why. What happens if you flip this over the line y equals x? Well, since it is the line y equals x, doesn't it stay on the line? Yeah. Okay. Ooh! I get really excited about this one. I know you aren't going to share this enthusiasm. What's the inverse of e to the x? Yeah! ln x! Now, you don't have to draw this, but look at it. Isn't ln x flipped over the line y equals x? Did I show you that the other day?
Yeah.
I like ln x and easy x. They're two of my favorite functions. Alrighty, so that's what it means to be one-to-one.